You know, I think I finally did it. I think I finally made Hexagod a fun game. After a lot of iteration and changes and kind of exploration of mechanics, I think this game is actually in a state that it's really exciting and fun. And because of that, even though I'm about 2 months away from fully releasing Hexagod, I'm not that stressed out. I thought I would be more stressed out. I thought the new year would happen because my plan is to be in the February Next Fest here, which is the end of February, and then release the game fully kind of toward the end of March. I thought at the start of the new year, I would become really stressed out. And honestly, I haven't, which is partly because I've intended to not burn myself out making games. I want to make a bunch of games, but also I think this game is really fun. The updates are being constantly pushed over onto Steam, so I might break something, but I also am really receptive to comments about bugs and fixes and stuff like that. So I'm constantly posting new updates. If you want to go check it out, it's over on Steam right now with a live demo you can play. I'd be thrilled if you'd wishlist it. Even if it's not your type of game, if you want to support the channel, wishlisting it right now is one of the best ways you can support me along my journey here. And even more importantly, maybe help out Carl here, who, say hi to the camera, Carl. Say hi, buddy. Carl here to make sure he can keep eating food. So let's dive into some of the features that I added in the last month, which have made this game, in my opinion, really fun. The first system I want to talk about is going to be how the player is able to build stuff in their village. We have the build menu in the bottom left corner here, which has a bunch of different tabs for things you can build. I've gone through a lot of iterations with packs and our rotating shop and a lot of randomness in there, and that randomness all felt really bad because you might see something that you want to build out of the randomness and not be able to afford it. And so I've landed on, and this is the simplest solution, it's a solution I like, which is going to be a drafting mechanic, very similar to a Slay the Spire or some sort of deck builder. So at the end of every day, you get a choice of 3 different improvements to permanently unlock in your village. So in this case, I might want Shrine because I want to be able to get more favor production in my village. So I'll claim the Shrine one, and now you can see it's down in my build menu. And if I had the resources, which in this case, because I'm in developer mode, I can then go ahead and place down, I don't actually have a good Shrine location, but I could place the Shrine buildings down and then have that permanently unlocked. So something like this ultimately leans a lot more into the randomness of what a build could be. I considered making this much more of a deck builder, but deck builders have a little bit too much randomness for what I want this game to be. I think at its core, it wants to be sped ran, and the next system we're going to talk about really leans into that. In order for you to first understand how the corruption system is going to function, you need to understand that the way you win the game is by building a demo wonder, which is going to be simply getting a bunch of resources. Right now, it's just a demo wonder, so it's a bunch of simple resources, but eventually the full game will have, you need to like refine your resources into tier 2 or potentially tier 3 resources, and then build the demo wonder like that. So it's going to be something you're constantly working toward, and because it's part of your core improvements, you're going to be able to see that from turn 1, so you know what am I working toward in the end. But I want this game to be sped ran. I want you to try to min-max your adjacency bonuses and really take advantage of trying to make something like a broken build that can just get you hundreds of favor a turn or something crazy like that, because I think that is what makes roguelikes fun. It's where you get your build online and get going. But I also need to then have, I think I need, and I really think it's going to make this game really fun, some sort of a stick, some sort of a thing that eventually pushes you to say, if you weren't effective enough in building your village is, you're going to lose the game. And that system is the corruption system. So you can see right now it's spawned right up here. This is the corruption origin tile. The way corruption is going to work is that after a certain number of days, and I'm going to tell the player and warn them that corruption is about to spawn, a corrupted origin tile will spawn. Every day after the corruption origin spawns, the corruption will spread. So right now it's up here, and the first time it spreads 1 tile. So let me speed through the days really quickly here, just pressing the space bar, or you can click the end turn button up here to end the day. And we're going to go ahead and feed our villager and claim the reward. All right, perfect. So now you can see it's spread to an additional tile. When corruption spreads, it destroys all of the resources on it. It destroys any buildings on it. And then if a villager ends its turn on a corrupted tile, it will die. And you lose this game, remember, by all your villagers dying. So as this eventually corruption spreads out, it speeds up. So on this next day, what's going to happen is the corruption will be spreading to 2 tiles, then 3 tiles, then 4 tiles, then 5 tiles. So kind of like a wildfire effect is going to spread across your entire island and eventually consume it. So once this spawns, it kind of starts the timer for, hey, you got to get that demo wonder built. And if you don't have the right resources and you don't have the right infrastructure built, eventually it's going to start to tear apart your village and you're going to lose the game. So my job is going to be to set that corruption spawning date at the correct day and then make sure that it makes sense and it looks cool, because right now you can't really tell where it's going to spawn. So I'm going to have to add some more polish to the system so you can see, oh, it's going to be moving to these next 2 tiles. Maybe I don't build something there, or maybe I go and try to collect these resources here so I can at least get those resources and then try to beat the timer of the corruption. So I think hopefully corruption plus then some later systems to incentivize speedrunning, maybe like a ranking system to rank you against like a histogram to show you based off of all the other players, how long did it take you to win the game, can incentivize you to really kind of speedrun this game more, because I think that is something where this game is going to shine, is trying to beat the game as fast as possible. Quick coffee break. All right, the next system I want to talk about is the improvements to the tile placement system. So this is kind of the core of what makes this game really fun. Previously, you could simply rotate these tiles to get them to place really well, but I wanted to make it feel a little bit more like a puzzly game where you can kind of, okay, I want to place this, where do I want to put it, or I want to re-roll this one. And so I added some new orientation options. So it's always going to be groups of 4 for now. I could change in the future. And you can rotate them by using the scroll wheel or these buttons here. And then you can also change the orientation. So we have vertical, we have left orientated, and right orientated. So you can place these then and use hotkeys 1 for left, 2 for up, and 3 for right. And then you can kind of try to find somewhere where you're going to be happy with this orientation. And what this ends up being is a nice kind of break in maybe the analytical mode of trying to figure out where do I place my villager, or which improvements do I have, or which improvements do I take at the end of the day. And instead you get a little bit of a paused moment to kind of figure out how you want to place your tile. And it really feels like you're building a puzzle where you have to like take a piece, you see the colors on it, you know what you like, and you're kind of putting it around the board and just seeing where it fits nicely. Imagine some nice calming music on the side of this game to keep it minimalistic and kind of zen-like, and all of a sudden you have a really lovely experience, all because I changed how the orientation can work, and it really wasn't that hard to do. Which is really exciting. So if you have more quality of life improvement ideas as you're playing this game, please let me know in the Discord or down in the comments below. The final system I'm going to take from my favorite game, Slay the Spire, and that is an Ascension mode for the game, because in a roguelike, eventually somebody beats the game or they're really good at it, and you need a difficulty slider, and roguelikes use an Ascension system where it kind of iteratively, each level of the Ascension, or I think in Hades they call it Hell, it gets harder and harder and harder. So eventually you find this level where you tap out with, for me, the Silent. I've been working on this for years at this point. I'm at Ascension level 18, working my way toward 20 eventually. So I'm going to add that into Hexagod. I'm going to call that the Ascendancy Trials or something like that. You're going to meet this character who will be the tutorialization. Maybe I'll name him Theseus. He'll be a little cute little old man I can make. And Theseus, here, hello, I'm Theseus. I'm going to help you get through the Ascension Trials. And maybe I'll voice act him or something like that, or have one of my buddies who's good at D&D come help me voice act Theseus. And they're going to help you kind of tutorialize the game and then also get you through the Ascension trial. So maybe the trial 0 is the tutorial trial where there's no corruption, no tier 2 resources. It's very simple. You just kind of got to get through it and understand the core systems. And then after you beat that first level, making sure that you can have these difficulty modifiers like Ascension mode in Slay the Spire that can make the game harder and harder for you, eventually kind of capping out at 6. And that would be in my head how you kind of win / beat the game, would be beating the 6th level of that Ascension and like ascending to your hexagodhood, if you will. Like I've said before, I'm surprisingly calm about the game, given that like I thought the start of the new year, given that I'm releasing the game in March and have the February Next Fest happening at the end of February, I thought I would be really stressed out, but I think I've gained a lot of confidence in these core systems because the game is really fun. I slip out of analytical mode playing my game and I start playing it. And for me, that's an important thing. That I have fun with the game is kind of my North Star, knowing that other people will like it as well. So my only job right now is to make sure the content I put into the game is going to be fun. I don't want to put a bunch of just crappy relics and crappy tile improvements in the game just for the sake of having them. I want to make sure that what I put in the game is fun and interesting, because if the only piece of feedback is Aarimous, I want more content in your game, I can certainly add more content to the game. Thank you so much for watching. Go check out Hexagod over on Steam and make sure you wishlist it. It helps more than you can even imagine. I'll be live over on Twitch if you want to come and hang out and celebrate the week that was and escape a little bit of the chaos that is life. Making games is hard. Stick with it. I have a hard time doing this. What you saw in this video is after months and months, I think like 8 months of full-time work on Hexagod, has gotten to the point where I finally think this game is really fun, and I'm excited to fully get this game released. I've been Aarimous. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.